Hi, everyone, and thanks for tuning in. I'm Josh.
And I'm Sarah.
And we are the Hiking Fools, bringing you unique personal insight on Glacier National Park that you can't get anywhere else. In this episode, we are discussing the Hidden Lake Overlook Trail, and we'll cover some of the things you need to know before you go, our personal experience, and tips and tricks to make the most of it. So the draw of this hike is that it's right there at Logan Pass, the highest point on the Going to the Sun Road, crossing the Continental Divide. It's just there beckoning, and there's a boardwalk that you can't miss.
It's one of the most visited trails in Glacier National Park. And it's probably the toughest place to get a parking spot. So Logan Pass, as people may be aware of, is difficult to find a place to park your vehicle. They've got some overflow areas, but the key is to get there early. And
don't forget about the requirements. You need if you're coming from the west side, you need a vehicle entry ticket available on recreation.gov. And you can also kind of avoid that by going early or later in the day, before 7 a.m. or after 3 p.m. You don't need the vehicle entry ticket, so you can get into the park and maybe go up there for a sunset.
Another way to bypass looking for a parking spot is to make use of the hiker shuttle. So you can get on at various points along the Going to the Sun Road on the west side and the east side. Get on that. It'll take you right up to Logan Pass, and you don't have to worry. The only downfall is you got to take everything with you. A benefit having your vehicle up there is you can come back and have a picnic lunch with your cooler and stuff and then take off. If you use the shuttle, you got to have everything with you, but you don't have to worry about a parking spot. So the shuttle system is great, and they come about every 10 to 15 minutes at all the shuttle stops. So it's nice to have.
And it's free on top of that. So we thank Glacier National Park and the Park Service for providing that, trying to alleviate some of the issues with parking and, the corridor that's always so busy. But don't let that keep you from this hike, because it's a terrific, brilliant view with a moderate effort. And so you're up there, the snow melts, it lasts quite a while. You've got fields of wildflowers, the cliffs and the mountain faces are right upon you, little streams trickling. It's just a neat place to be.
Yeah, this trail packs in a lot in just a short amount of time. You got wildflowers, a ton of wildlife, trickling clear mountain streams. You got lofty mountain peaks all around you. It's a great hike for a family. It's labeled easy, but I would say there's definitely some elevation gain. It's steep going up to Hidden Lake Overlook, so don't be deceived by what information is out there. But do be prepared. It's a little bit steep going up, but it's worth it, and stick to it.
Yeah, she's right. It's a boardwalk, which is nice for most of it, or a good portion of it, but it's not Yellowstone. It's not a flat terrain where you're just kind of sightseeing. I mean, plus you're at 6646 elevation, so you're almost 7,000 feet up. That's a little different for a flatlander, and so make sure that you're ready. There's a lot of steps. If you're counting steps, there's too many. There are too many to count, and it's fairly steep, so it'll get you breathing.
The first half mile or so is boardwalk, but early in the season, when the Going to the Sun Road first opens up to Logan Pass, oftentimes that first section there is covered in snow. So if you're coming right when the Going to the Sun Road opens between the middle of June to the end of June, maybe even early July, depending on how our winter was, you're probably going to encounter some snow. So make sure you have crampons with, I call them the predator teeth on the bottom. So there's different types of crampons. I like the ones that aren't spikes, but get the ones with claws. You can get them on Amazon. They go right over your hiking shoe or hiking boots. They're great, and it gives you awesome traction in the snow and the slush and the ice, and hiking poles work that way too.
Yeah, she's right. You got to have them. You never know how much snow there's going to be. You don't want to be the one who is obviously underprepared and continues to slip and fall on your butt on this trail, because there's a good slope and the snow is slushy, and so it's hard to do. To be clear, Sarah is talking about the clawed shoe attachments. There's a lot out there. Yak tracks, not to put them down, but they got those springs, and depending on what you're doing and how much you use them, they can kind of unravel. There are also tiny little spikes, look like golf shoes, that you can unattach them and reattach them. Not good enough. You're going to want something with teeth.
And be prepared for any kind of weather. As Josh mentioned, we are at the highest point of the Going to the Sun Road on the Continental Divide. So weather can come in from multiple different drainages, and it can get pretty blustery up there, especially early season. It's warm down below and it feels like summer. And then you go up there and it's 10 to 15, sometimes even 20 degrees colder. So make sure you have rain gear, something to wear to block the wind as well, warm hats, gloves. Be prepared for anything because it comes in with a fierceness.
For sure. I mean, a hat and gloves weigh almost nothing, packed down to almost nothing, and can provide a huge benefit. Raincoat, same thing. As we mentioned, you're surrounded by the peaks of Glacier. You got Reynolds, Mount Clements, Mount Oberlin, and on the other side, some other grand faces of rock, which are beautiful, by the way, especially in the sunlight. But that means you can't see what's coming. And so we've been surprised so many times. The weather, we'll look up and we're staring at the glorious mountain. And then we say, it looks like some clouds are building. And then before you know it, it's windy and raining, and gusts can get pretty fierce. So be ready. You're at a high elevation. You've got to be prepared for that circumstance.
So if you just want to hike up to Hidden Lake Overlook from Logan Pass parking lot, it's about 1.5 miles. And most people do that. They just go up to the Overlook, take pictures. The views are fabulous, looking down on Hidden Lake, and you got, Bear Hat Mountain directly west of Hidden Lake, which is over an 8,000-foot peak. And some people just walk back. If you are into it, you can hike the 1.5 miles down to Hidden Lake. If it's open, it's oftentimes closed. So they'll give you reminders at the trailhead, what is open, what is closed. But if you decide to do the whole thing, it's about 6 miles. And there's, like we said, there's elevation gain going up, about 550 feet of elevation gain going up to the Overlook. And then you drop down to the lake, and it's a little more elevation gain coming up. Josh can give us some more. He's the stat man. What do you got for us, Josh?
It is. Yeah, it's halfway, as far as distance goes, it's halfway up to the Overlook and then a similar distance down, another 1.5 miles. So a 6 mile round trip if you decide to go to the lake. And in our experience, Glacier has some terrific alpine lakes where you do all your work, you get up early, you're raring to go, you get up to the lake, and then you say, hey, it's all downhill from here. Not so with Hidden Lake. You go up, then down, then up, then down. And as Sarah mentioned, there's more elevation gain on the way out of the lake. And it's steep. It's a good trail, and there's a lot of people around. So don't worry about getting yourself into trouble, but understand that the up, down can be discouraging for some, but you can do it. And it's less than 1,000 feet, in both directions, but 1.5 miles. So be prepared for a hike. This is not someplace to sightsee.
Hidden Lake is about a 2-mile long lake, and at the deepest part, it's about 148 feet, and it's located at an elevation of 6,375 feet. So it's up there, and you're in prime grizzly country. I can't tell you how many times we've been up there and have seen grizzly bears around. They're just doing bear things. Make sure you follow the rules. Keep your distance several hundred yards away. Keep your bear spray on the front of you. But last year we were coming out on a trail and we saw a sow with 2 cubs. We saw her 2 different times, and she was very close to the crowds. And I think oftentimes they feel a little bit more protected, staying closer to the crowds, away from the Bruins, who can...
Let's not talk about what the Bruins will do. They're nasty. But she's right. There are a lot of grizzly bears in this area. And, we were on a couple hikes. There's a lot of peaks around this. We'll get to those in other episodes, all the peaks that you can climb and the passes that you can get to. But we were coming back and, there's a lot of people around, safety in numbers, but still, be cautious. Think fast, Sarah. You see a grizzly on the Hidden Lake boardwalk, and what do you do?
Well, you give it plenty of space, back away, don't make eye contact with a bear, and if it approaches you, you let them know you mean business, and you have your bear spray. You have protection, but you're in their territory. You have a great opportunity to see a lot of other types of wildlife, too. If you're looking to see mountain goats and bighorn sheep, this is the place to be. They're all around in there. This whole section is filled with beautiful wildflowers. It's called the Hanging Gardens, and the wildlife love it there. They're grazing on all this awesome vegetation. You can, if you listen closely and know the sound of a pika, they're everywhere in here, and they're housed in some of the jumbled up boulders on the side of the trail, and marmots are in abundance. You got the Columbian ground squirrels. You got the golden mantle ground squirrels that look like chubby chipmunks.
Why are they chubby? Don't feed the wildlife. They're chubby and they hang around because people drop, snacks, and they know they're smart enough.
Leave no trace. Remember to pack in, pack out. We don't want to feed any of the wildlife.
But yeah, specifically, I mean, goats, you could get within a few feet, respect them, understand that they're not toys, they're not tame pets, domesticated, they are wild animals. And the bighorn sheep herd that tends to be up there, pretty awesome. They're like 12 to 15 males that we've seen. I mean, they're huge. And we've seen them pretty up close, but those freak me out even a little bit more. If you've seen those curled horns, you know that you're no match.
Yeah, all the teenage boys and the big males, they kind of hang out together this time of year, and they love the Logan Pass area. And so it's a great place to see wildlife. It's just an awesome trail, and it makes sense why it's so popular.
It does. And we're going to take a short commercial break, but stick with us. We've got another segment coming right up.
Hello, this is Don Bennett, president of Freedom Bank in Columbia Falls. Our relationship-based business model is rooted in building long-term trust with our deposit and loan customers. Our method of investment is in our local economy via our loan portfolio. We are a small business ourselves, and Freedom Bank is in it for the long haul to serve the needs of those who count on us for financial stability and prosperity. Freedom Bank, we want to be your bank.
Welcome back. We are the Hiking Fools, and we have been discussing Hidden Lake Overlook Trail and the lake itself and how to get there and what it means. And there are beautiful meadows of wildflowers around, plenty of wildlife. It affords a lot of opportunity to experience Glacier National Park at its best.
A great diverse range of wildlife and wildflowers. Yes, all these multi-level alpine meadows are full of wildflowers that bloom all throughout the season. It's a great hike and very popular.
Yeah, I've got to mention one of these wildflowers, the paintbrush. It's a beautiful flower, and it's my favorite. And it comes in a lot of different colors. Up there, it's often a fuchsia, but I've seen it red, we've seen it orange, and it's the state flower of Wyoming, which is kind of interesting. It's, in the Midwest, we called it orange hawkweed, or we called it paintbrush, but it actually was orange hawkweed. So this is the paintbrush that you hear about in the Americas, and it's a beautiful, beautiful flower. And for those of you listening, I really want something, and I'll tell you this, and just comment or send it straight to me. I want a painting of a paintbrush flower using a paintbrush to paint it with the pigment from a paintbrush flower. Does that make sense?
That would be a really cool painting.
A painting of a paintbrush, using a paintbrush to do it. Everybody says that. I want somebody else to do it. I'm not the artist.
I think you should set up at Logan Pass and do this.
Plein air paint?
No, don't pick the flowers. Scratch that. Don't pick the flowers. You're in Glacier National Park. Stay on the trail. Don't trample on these beautiful wildflowers. Did you know that the paintbrush also comes in a phase of white? It's very rare.
I've never heard of that. Albino
I've never seen
paintbrush?
it, but I read that. Yes.
Well, we'll keep looking for it. Or if you see one, again, yeah, we'd love to see some interaction, some engagement with the show. So if you have some comments, go ahead and post them on the Facebook page or anywhere that you see, if you're listening to the episode, a place to post comments. We'd love to hear from you. And even better, we'd love to see you out on the trail. And again, this is such a trail with great accessibility, for such a great overlook and viewpoint. And I've got to say, a fun fact, at the Hidden Lake Overlook, which is just over 7,000 feet, you're actually higher than some named mountain peaks in the park, such as Huckleberry Mountain, Apgar Lookout, Scalp Lock Lookout, places that we'll talk about later and that we've been. But right at this overlook, because you start so high, you're up there. And so for that reason, we want to reiterate that this isn't just to walk on the boardwalk and take a look at something, some land feature. It is a hike, and it goes up 1.5 miles and gains over 500 feet. We just say that because a lot of the research you might do say, Hidden Lake Overlook, it's a beginner's trail. And it is, it's accessible, but be aware, plus you're at such a high elevation that the oxygen levels are different.
Yeah, Logan Pass also has a little nature trail there too, and it's got an accessible concrete ramp for wheelchairs. So you can, if you don't feel like you can hack the Hidden Lake Overlook Trail, they have a little nature trail there that goes behind the visitor center, the parking lot there, and they've got little interpretive signs, and you still get great views and a chance to see wildlife. So that's another option too. And Logan Pass Visitor Center, it's a cute little place. There's a ranger inside if you have any questions. They have a little gift shop there. They sell books and, stuff for children. I don't think they have any snacks. They might have snacks now. I haven't been in there in a little while. But But later in the season, they do open some restrooms with flush toilets up connected to the visitor center. They have a water fountain there. You can refill your water bottle. When those bathrooms are not open, they also have pit toilets that are located right adjacent to the parking lot. There's 4 or 5 of them. So you have a restroom up there, which is really nice. Logan Pass is actually named after the Glacier National Park's first ever superintendent, which was Major William Logan. So he's kind of an important figure in the history of Glacier National Park. But Logan Pass is a great place to be. It's just very, very busy. And now that they have the ticketed system, it used to, die down with traffic around 4 or 5 p.m., but we have noticed that traffic is still pretty heavy around that time, usually after 8 p.m., which is not a good time to go into the park to do a hike. But it's a busy place. Just keep circling and be patient. You'll find a spot. There also is some parking at Oberlin Bend, which is about a quarter mile from Logan Pass as you're coming up the west side. You can also go down the east side a little ways, and there's a little bit of parking on the side of the road and a couple pull-offs. So you get people who are diehard trying to get up to Logan Pass to do a hike in the morning. And I've seen people park for Logan Pass as low on the east side as Lunch Creek. But it's a very popular area, but there's a lot to do.
For sure. Yeah, you can climb a couple of peaks around there, head off trail. Make sure you check in with the ranger, ask any questions you might have, what the best methods are for your adventure. And the earlier you get, people get there early and grab a spot, but it's just because they might have a full day adventure. Hidden Lake's a half day hike, or depends on your skill level and speed. But there are a lot of people that adventure even further from this point.
Apparently, Hidden Lake is known for its fishing. I'm not a fisherman. Josh, you're not much of a fisherman, but we have been down at the lake and we've seen people, carrying a fly rod. And it looks like if I was a fisherman, I would probably fish this lake. It's so beautiful and it's secluded and it's quiet. We talked about before that as you go up to Hidden Lake Overlook, it's kind of in the section of a pass. So it's really windy. But as you go down into the lake, it's kind of protected from the wind and it's kind of quiet and peaceful. Apparently, Hidden Lake's known for Yellowstone cutthroat trout. It's catch and release only, but it's a lake that's great for fishing. But I have heard, talking to people and reading, that fishing is so popular down there that the fish are kind of smart. And if you're patient, you'll catch one, and they're big fish. But it might take you a little while to get one. They know that you're coming to get them.
Yeah. And glacier fish are obviously smarter than other fish. If they're living here, they've made a good choice. But yeah, they're great stories. I've heard, one of our sitting presidents came and tried with no luck. Our friend Matt and his son hiked it in the fall and they had no luck as well. People they try hard. And speaking of that, the different seasons are a great time to check this out because things change with all the vegetation that we mentioned. It's going to look different every time, including the appearance of these mountains. I mean, they're just rocky and striped and beautiful, all the different sills and levels and layers. And I'll mention that, early in the morning, the sun is rising, shining on Mount Clemens. It's beautiful, the snowfield, it's bright, and the blue sky, the Montana blue sky behind it. And then if you go up later in the day, I love it. The sun sets on going to the Sun Mountain, for which this road was named.
I like when you're hiking up, coming up from Hidden Lake, and you're reapproaching the pass or the overlook, and you've got that waterfall that shines down. Mm-hmm. And when the sun is getting low behind you in the western sky, it creates a rainbow feature.
Gosh,
really pretty.
It's like you enjoy wildlife and vistas and natural habitats and, beautiful things. I love you.
Well, thank you. I love you too. There's so many places I've been in the park that I think in my mind, boy, I could live right here. If I could just build a house right here. I think Hidden Lake Overlook would be one of those spots.
But you will not, because this is a national park. And we're going to let everybody else enjoy it, from around the world. I mean, it's kind of neat. You'll see visitors from all over the world in Glacier National Park. That's part of the neat, the experience.
Now, this is kind of a short trail like we talked about if you want to just do the overlook or go down to the lake. I'm going to revisit talking about carrying water. There's a lot of places to filter. So if you're a little bit intimidated by, the elevation gain and you don't want to carry a lot of weight, there's multiple places for you to filter water. And the water that's coming out of a lot of the snow melt is really clear and it's clean. Just make sure you're filtering. So if you're not wanting to carry that much water, this is a great place to filter and not carry as much.
So again, Hidden Lake Overlook, 1.5 miles up to the Overlook, partially on a boardwalk. You can walk down to the lake, a little bit more elevation, 1.5 miles there, 6-mile round trip with some fair elevation at the heights that you're going to feel it if you're from the flatlands. And we've just had some great experiences here over and over. I remember climbing Mount Reynolds and Dragon's Tail with my brother. We were walking down the boardwalk and our 5-year-old son and Sarah were running up the boardwalk and just meeting them and feeling like, wow, we are in paradise here. And so check it out. It's a great hike. Tune in next time. We're going to talk more about the trails surrounding Logan Pass. And remember to follow this podcast on Apple or Spotify for new episodes. I'm Josh.
And I'm Sarah.
And we are the Hiking Fools, encouraging you to always go